Sa videong ito, we will discuss the measures of variation. Sa ibang aklat class, tinatawag din itong measures of dispersion. What is this? Try to imagine this situation. Events of nature always varies from time to time. People keep on changing places, motion, physical appearance, skin reaction to different chemicals, height, weight, hair color, eye color, ideas, and even values in life. The height of a group of people with same race tend to converge to a common value. So yung mga height daw ng mga tao sa isang race, isang lahi ay yung mga heights nila ay nagko-converge sa isang value. Parang lumalapit yung mga height nila sa values na yon. Ang ibig sabihin nun, most of these people have heights that are clustering about that value. Clustering, ibig sabihin, medyo malalapit doon sa value na yon yung mga height nila. Gaano ba kalapit yung malalapit na yon? The extent of clustering of the heights about a central value is known as variation. Yun yung measures of variation na tinatawag. Yung clustering ng mga values na yon about that value. O itong value na pinag-uusapan natin dito actually, this is the average. Halimbawa, average height of these people. Bawat height ng isang tao ay medyo lumalapit or lapit doon sa average na yon. So ang tanong, gaano ba kalayo o gaano kalapit yung tinatawag na malapit doon? Yun yung clustering. So gaano kalayo yun, gaano kalapad, yung pag-spread ng mga data, yun na yung tinatawag natin variation. So the measures of this variation enable us to know how varied the observations are, whether there are extreme values in the distribution or whether the values are very close to each other. So, kapag yung values ng observations ay very close to each other, ibig sabihin yan, maliit yung value ng variation. Kapag naman medyo malalayo sa isa't isa yung mga observations, like yung mga scores, yung mga height ng mga tao, pag malalayo ang distansya sa isa't isa, ang ibig sabihin niyan, malaki ang variation. Pag ang measure ng ating variation ay 0, ibig sabihin niyan, there is no variation. The observations are all alike or we call that homogeneous. O halimbawa, ang height nyo ay pare-pareho, walang nag-iiba. Ibig sabihin, walang variation. So yun yung tinatawag nating variation doon. The measures of the variation or the spread of the data. Otherwise, kapag may variation, so ibig sabihin niyan, the data are heterogeneous. We have here the common measures of variations. We have the range, mean absolute deviation, variance, standard deviation, coefficient of variation, quartile deviation, percentile range. Marami pang iba, class, pero ito yung mga common na ginagamit para sa measures of variation. Ito yung i-discuss natin sa lesson na to. Itong 7 na to na measures of variation. Isa-isayin natin yan, class. So, let's start with the range. Ito yung pinakasimple sa lahat, yung range na to. Mini-measure lang naman ang variation from the highest to the lowest. Kaya in short, ang formula for the range is just equal to the highest score minus the lowest score. Highest score or observation minus the lowest score or lowest observation. Para sa ungrouped data to. At para naman sa group data, we will discuss that later. Kasi magkakaroon muna tayo ng example ng range para sa ungrouped data. So ito yung ating example. A sample of 5 high school students was asked on how many hours had they spent on watching the television last week. Using the samples, 18, 19, 12, 11, and 10, find for the range. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung sagot ng mga estudyanteng 5 na tinanong natin tungkol doon sa gaano ba kahaba yung in-spend nilang hours sa panonood ng television last week. So, yung isa sumagot 18 hours daw sa nanonood, 19 yung isa, 12, 11, at saka 10. So, ngayon, ang tanong lang naman, find the range. So, ibig sabihin yan, just find the difference between the highest and the lowest. Iyon na yung kanyang magiging range. The measure of the spread of this data in terms of highest and lowest, and that is range. Highest data there is 18 and the lowest is 10, we just subtract this 19 minus 10 and the range is 9. Now, para sa group data, medyo similar din naman yung ating formula. Range equals H sub UL minus L sub LM. What is this? H sub UL is just the upper limit of the highest class interval, and the L is the lower limit of the lower class interval. So kasi nga, sa group data, we are dealing with intervals or classes. So sa isang class, meron yung tinatawag na upper and the lower limit. So yun yung aalamin lang natin dyan. Now, for the example, sorry class, this is error. Find for the range, or let's say, find the range of this data here. Ito yon. So if you can notice, this is already organized in frequency distribution table. So this is a group data. So yung ating mga classes, yung ating mga scores, hindi sinabi ko anong data ito. It may be scores or what kind of observations are this. So basta naka-group sila sa classes. So ibig sabihin, pag classes yan, yun nga, meron tayong tinatawag na upper boundary, upper limit, ito nasa right side na number, lower limit, ito mga sa left side. Kailangan natin dito is the upper limit or the true upper limit, meaning we will just add 0.5 dun sa upper limit and subtract 0.5 dun sa lower limit. Yun yung actually true boundary, no? We have here the upper limit is itong 94, mag plus 0.5 tayo dyan, kaya 94.5. And then the lower limit is yung nandun sa taas, yun kasi yung pinakamababang class interval. So the lower limit of that is 40 minus 0.5, that is 39.5. So i-subtract lang natin yung dalawa na yon. So range equals 94.5 minus 39.5. We have the range 55. So ganun lang naman, madali lang din kahit na group data yan. Let's go to the next type of measure of variation. This is called the mean absolute deviation, MAD. So from that word mean, tulad dun sa ating example kanina sa introduction, yung mga height. So parang kinukuha natin yung difference of every height from that average height. And then, compute natin yung average ng mga distances na yan. So, ang result niyan, we have the mean absolute deviation. You have your two formula. For ungrouped data, ito siya. Ang pinagkaiba lang naman, sa ungrouped data, meron tayong F dito, frequency. Kasi sa ungrouped data, walang frequency kasi nabibilang naman natin kasi maliit lang yung data. Pag may frequency na yan, ibig sabihin, nakagroup yan sa frequency distribution table. We have your example number 1 para sa ungrouped data. A group of scientists went on an expedition to the mountain range in Sierra Madre, Philippines, to study the different species of plants existing in the area. The ages of the scientists are 34, 35, 45, 56, 32, 25, and 40. What is the mean absolute deviation of the ages of the scientists? Ito lang naman pala yung tanong. Pinahaba pa, pero ang data lang naman pala na kailangan natin ay itong mga ages of the scientists na naman. So now, because we have here the formula for the MAD, summation of the x minus x bar is the mean, divided by n. So, ibig sabihin, before we can use this formula, we have to solve first for the mean x bar. From the previous topic, we have the formula for the mean, that is equal to summation of x divided by n, the number of observation. So, simple, i-plus lang natin lahat ng mga ages ng scientists, 34 plus 35 plus 45, lahat-lahat hanggang sa 40. And then, i-divide natin ang result by the 7 kasi 7 lang naman silang lahat sa sample na to. Then, we have 267 ang sum ng kanilang ages divided by 7. So, we have 38.14. This is the mean of this data. Kailangan natin to para sa pag-solve ng math. Because we have here the formula for the math, summation of the absolute value of x minus x bar or mean. Ibig sabihin yan, in short, if subtract natin yung mean na 38.4 doon sa bawat data. Bawat age ay minusan natin. So, 34 minus 38.14 andito plus 35 minus 38.14 plus 45 minus 38.14 and so on hanggang sa pinakalas na 40 minus 38.14. So dahil naka-absolute value ito, lahat ng differences dyan, positive man or negative, palaging kukunin natin yung negative because that is the meaning of the absolute value. So ito na yung mga result, 4.14, negative ito actually, yun nga kasi absolute value, so we always get the positive value. So ito na yung 7 differences, i-plus lang natin lahat yan. The total is 53.14 divided by 7. Our mean absolute deviation is 7.59. Ibig sabihin, yung average distance ng age ng mga scientists na yon sa average nilang age ay 7.59. Average of their age is 38. Meaning, it's about 7.49 yung layo ng edad nila dun sa average na 38.14. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng mean absolute deviation. Or, ayaw natin ng ganito, gusto natin na i-table siya, o gamitan nyo ng Excel, parang mas madali. May pakita natin sa table. So, sa table, madali lang kasi. So, sa X, ilagay natin dyan lahat ng 7 ages of the scientist. And then, the next column, ipakita natin yung difference, X minus the mean na 38.14. So, ito na, i-subtract natin yung 38.14 sa bawat age dito. So, ito na yung kanyang result. Kita nyo, may negative, may positive, may negative. So, the next column here shows the absolute value. So, whatever the values here, negative or positive, we always consider the positive values niya. And then, ipa-plus natin lahat ito ng positive differences. And the answer is 53.14. So, ito na yung summation of the absolute value of x minus x bar. So, we'll just divide that by 7 and yan na yung ating magiging MAD or mean absolute deviation. That is equal to 7.59. Hindi nalagay dito class, but the answer for that is 7.59. So, what if the data is consider distribution table or in group data? Masasolve pa rin ba natin yung MAD? Of course, yes, we can. So, halimbawa nito is this one. These data are scores of students in a test. So, compute for the MAD of this data. So, dahil based dun sa ating formula, kung balikan natin ito yon, MAD equals summation of x times the absolute value of x minus x bar all over n. Dagdagan lang natin yung original data natin. We have the original data here, yung score lang at saka yung F. So, magdagdag tayo ng X. Kasi dito natin susubtract yung X bar. So, dagdag ng X. So, ano itong X? Midpoint ito ng scores na to, yung classes natin. So, average lang yan. 65 plus 71 divided by 2. That is 68. So, ganun na rin ang pagkuha sa iba dyan. 58 plus 64 divided by 2 is 61. Or, ito, the average of 51 and 57 ay 54. Sabihin nyo sa gitnang value nila. And ganun na rin yung pagkuha sa ibang x dito. And next, also need to the column for fx. Bakit? Kasi nga, kailangan natin i-solve dito yung mean. Kasi may mean doon. So, we need to solve for the mean. And sa ating data, ang mean natin ay, alam natin, summation of fx divided by n. So, kaya kinailangan natin i-add itong fx na column. So, paano ito ginawa? Add lang fx, meaning we multiply f and x. So, 1 times 68, that's 68. 9 times 61, that's 549. 13 times 54, that's 702. And so on. Pinakalas. Na 2 times 33, that is 66. And, i-add natin ito sa class. Plus mo lahat itong fx na to. The answer is 2,490. Ito na yung ating summation of the fx. Bakit? Kasi kailangan natin ito sa pag-solve ng mean. We need to solve for the mean. So, ito yung mean natin is 49.8. So, paano ba sinolve yan? Yung formula kasi ng mean natin ay summation of fx divided by n. So, dinivide lang itong dalawa ha. 2,490 divided by 50. The answer is 49.8. Ito na yung ating mean. The next column that we need is itong absolute value of the x minus x bar or x minus mean. So, nasan yung ating x? Again, andito. X. So, 68 minus mean na 49.8, 18.2. So, positive palagi ang kunin. 61 minus 49.8, 11.2. 54 minus 49.8, 4.2. And so on hanggang sa pinakalas. 33 minus 49.8, 16.8. Now, negative actually yun, but because this is absolute value, we consider only the positive. Now, we still need another column, which is f times the absolute value of x minus x bar. Kasi iyan yung ating nasa formula o f. So, meaning, itong ating x minus x bar, absolute value na column, i-times uli natin dun sa f, bawat isa. So, 1 times 18.2, 18.2. 9 times 11.2, 100.8. 13 times 4.2, that's 54.6. 15 times 2.8 is 42. And so on, hanggang sa pinakalas na 2 times 16.8 is 33.6. And then, i-plus natin ito class. Kasi nga, sa formula, summation eh. Summation. So, we need to add. Add all of this. The last column. The answer is 347.2. Ito na yung ating summation of f times the absolute value of x minus x bar. Ito na yun. Because this is what we need to solve for the math. Because that is the formula. Summation of f times the absolute value of x times the mean divided by n. And solve na natin, kaya substitute na. Summation natin is 347.2 divided by n na 50. Nandun. 50 yung total ng f. And then, dividing these two, the answer is 6.94. Meaning, ito yung average na distance ng bawat score ng estudyante dun sa average nilang score na 49.8. Yun yung tinatawag na mean absolute deviation. Next is the interquartile range, another measure of variation. So because it is all about quartile na naman class, so hindi kayo makakaligtas, balik pa rin tayo dun sa formula ng quartile, dun sa measures of position. Kaya nga, itong ating statistics lessons are connected to each other. So although tapos na yung lesson na yun, we still need to go back to those lessons to get the formula. Because our formula for the interquartile range, or we shortcut that as IQR, it is just the difference between the third quartile minus the first quartile. In short, we are interested with getting the measure or the range of the middle 50. Yung pinakagitnang 50% ng scores ng students ay matatagpuan dito sa interquartile range. Ibig sabihin, yung mga matatalino na nasa 75% above ay hindi nasali dyan. At saka yung mga bobo, hindi naman mga bobo, pero yung may mga mababang score na belong sa 25% and below, hindi na rin kasali. So, kinuha lang natin yung gitna. And that is what we call the interquartile range. So, how to do that? We have here the example for the ungrouped data. Same example class dun sa ating previous. Same data ito, no? Yung 5 high school students na pinag-uusapan natin. But this time, we're going to find the interquartile range. At dahil ito ay ungrouped data at kailangan natin ng measure of position, kailangan natin silang i-arrange from lowest to highest. So ito na, na-arrange na natin yung data. 10, 11, 12, 18, and 19. At nag-assign tayo ng position sa bawat data. Number 1, of course, dun sa lowest, 2, 3, 4, hanggang sa pinaka-mataas. 5, kasi 5 lang silang lahat. So we need this because we want to solve for the quartile 3 and quartile 1. So back to the formula for the quartile, we have here the position of the quartile k. K plus n plus 1 over 4. So k natin dito kasi third quartile lang kailangan natin. So 3. 3 times 5 kasi 5 ang ating n. 5 plus 1 divided by 4. So that's 3 times 6 divided by 4. The answer is 4.5. O dahil nga may decimal points yan, kailangan natin uli mag-interpolation. Ibig sabihin, yung ating quartile 3 ay nasa pagitan ng 4th and 5th na position. So So, fourth natin is 18 and ang fifth ay 19. So, nandyan sa pagitan nila yung quartile 3. So, we subtract that 19 and 18. Subtract. And the answer is 1. And then, from the 1, we multiply natin dito yung decimal part ng position, 4.5 here. So, ibig sabihin, may 0.5 na decimal dyan. Kaya 1 times 0.5. And the answer is 0.5. So, i-add natin ito yung 0.5 doon sa ating subtrahend na 18. Kaya, 18 plus 0.5 equals 18.5, the value of our third quartile. So, may isa pa. Kailangan pa natin kunin yung first quartile dahil yun yung ating isa-subtract mamaya. So, to get that first quartile, we have here quartile 1. So, k is equal to 1. Kaya, substituting that from the formula of the position, we have 1 times the quantity of 5 plus 1 all over 4. That is 1 times 6 divided by 4, 1.5. O, hindi naman siya whole number. So, means we need to interpolate again because the value is between first and second data. So, first data natin dito is 10. The second data is 11. We subtract that. 11 minus 10, the answer is 1. Because meron siyang 0.5 na decimal part dun sa position, i-times natin dyan dun sa 1. So, we have 1 times 0.5, 0.5. And then, i-plus natin yung result dito dun sa 10, yung sinubtract natin. So, 10 plus 0.5, the answer is 10.5, our value of the first quartile. So, now, we have already solved the quartile 1 and quartile 3. All we need to do next is to subtract them. Ito na, 18.5 minus 10.5, yung result na nakuha natin kanina. And the answer is 8. That is our interquartile range. Ibig sabihin, yan lang yung spread ng data na yon in the middle 50. 8 lang. So, we also solve the IQR or the interquartile range of the data, which is grouped in frequency distribution table. So, we have now the group data. Yung given usually sa group data ay ganito lang. The class interval and the frequency. Now, find the interquartile range of this data. The first step, of course, dahil kailangan natin yung quartile 3 and quartile 1, so position. We need to get the position. So, para sa group data, kailangan natin yung mag-add ng another column dito, yung less than cumulative frequency or the less than CF. Ito na yan, less than CF. Paano kinuha yan? Again, i-review natin. We will start here at 4. Okay, 4 plus 3, 7 plus 4, 11 plus 3, 14 plus 10, 24 plus 2, 26 plus 5, 31, and so on hanggang sa pinakahuli. Pinakahuli 48 plus 2 is 50. Yan. So, ibig sabihin yung 50 na to, ito yung sum up ng lahat ng F dito. That 50 is our N. Actually, this is our N, 50. Now, we are ready to solve for the quartile 3 first. O, ito yung formula uli natin dun sa ating group data ng quartile. So, we have here this formula. First thing that we need to solve here is itong Kn over 4. Na-remember niyo ba? Para ma-recognize natin kung saan ba banda dito sa classes na to yung ating quartile 3. So, i-solve natin yung Kn over 4. Because quartile 3 kailangan natin, so K is 3. 3 times N divided by 4. That is 3 times 50. Yung value ng ating N here, divided by 4, the answer is 37.5. Here, we will look at the less than CF na column dito, saan na-belong yung 37.5. So, hanapin nyo lang yung value na next na mas mataas sa 37.5. That is 39 here. So, it means our quartile 3 belongs to this class, in the class of 75 to 79. So, ibig sabihin yan, pag dito yung ating class, ito yung ating lower boundary, ito yung ating upper boundary, and then the lower limit of the quartile 3 here is 75 minus 0.5 lang tayo palagi dyan. Basta lower limit ang pinag-uusapan, palagi mong subtract ng 0.5 dun sa ating lower class boundary. So 75 minus 0.5, that is 74.5. And then yung I dito, kailangan din natin i-solve yan. Walang dito any two consecutive values dito sa lower boundary or upper boundary. So 45 minus 40, that is our I. And that's 5. So, kahit saan kayo dito mag-subtract, ng dalawa magkasunod, equals 5 palagi yan. So, I equals 5. Now, we are ready to substitute. The lower limit of the quartile 3 is 74.5. Yung sabi ko rin nandun sa nangyaling. Subtract 0.5 there. Plus, yung kn over 4 is 37.5. Nasolve natin dito. So, diretso na. Minus 31. Ito yung ating CF below. Okay, ito yung ating CF. And then below that is 31. Kaya minus 31. Divided by 8, which is our F. Dito na po yan. Yung F ng ating quartile 3 class. Times 5, that is our I. And then, simplify. Dito kayo mag-umpisa muna. 37.5 minus 31. Kung ano man yung sagot dyan, i-times sa 5. And then, i-divide sa 8. So, ang sagot niyan actually is 4.0625. Ito. And then, adding that to the 74.5, the final answer is 78.56, the value of our third quartile. Now, meron pa. We still need the first quartile bago natin masolve yung IQR. And for the first quartile, ito din ganon din ang process. Kn over 4 muna isosolve natin because we are looking for the quartile 1. So, K is 1. Kaya 1 times 50, our end, yung last dito na value, divided by 4, 12.5. And then, from this value, 12.5, hanapin yung next na mas mataas nito doon sa less than CF. So, we have here 14. Ibig sabihin, yung ating quartile 1 class ay nandito sa nakamarka na to. Andito sa 55 to 59. Ito yung class niya ng quartile 1. And then, of course, we need also the I. Pero hindi na natin kailangan i-solve dahil na-solve na natin in the previous and that is equal to 5. And we are now ready for the substitution. Okay, lower limit of the quartile 1 is 54.5. Doon ang galing yung sa 55. Minus 0.5 yan. Kaya 54.5 plus. Kn over 4 is 12.5. Yung kakasolve lang natin kanina dyan. Minus 11. This is our CF below. So, 14 yung ating current na CF. Below that is 11. Kaya 11. All over 3. Divided by 3, our frequency here, 3. Yan sa namarkahan. Times 5, our I, that we have solved in the previous one. And then, i-simplify. Dito kayo mauna sa parentheses. 12.5 minus 11 equals, and then times 5 divided by 3. The answer for that is 2.5. Adding that 2.5 to 54.5, we have the final answer, 57. And this is our quartile 1 value. So, ngayon alam na natin yung quartile 1 at sa quartile 3. Ang IQR ay isubtract lang natin sila. That is just equal to quartile 3 minus quartile 1. And the answer is 78.56 minus 57. The final answer for our IQR is 21.57. Yan yung range ng quartile 3 and quartile 1. Middle 50. Ito yung range ng kanilang mga scores. Now, let's go to the standard deviation and the variance. Actually, ito yung pinaka most useful na measures of variation na ginagamit sa mga researches. Hindi talaga nawawala to. Standard deviation and variance. So, what are these? It is the measure of variability that involves all scores in the distribution. Ito yung pinaka-actually accurate na measures of variation. Kasi kung balikan natin yung range, ang sinosolve lang doon yung kabuuan from the lowest to the highest. Itong interquartile range is middle 50%. Yung sa gitna lang na 50%. And then itong standard deviation and variance, yung kabuuan, lahat na. Ito na yung magde-describe ng characteristics ng isang data kung how spread yung mga data sa isa't isa. Gaano kalayo yung mga agwat, gaano sila ka-close sa isa't isa. So, ito na yung the best variation to be used. Itong standard deviation at variance. O, magkapatid yan sila ha, kasi variance is just the square root of the standard deviation. Kaya the formula. For the ungrouped data, andito yung formula ng ating standard deviation. Actually, nauna dito sa variance muna. Variance is, ito yung formula niya. Kinuha lang ang square root nito, ayun nasa taas. Nagiging standard deviation na para yan sa ungrouped data. For the group data, ito yung formula para sa variance. And kinuha lang din ng square root niya. So, andun na. kaya naging standard deviation na siya ng group data. So, ito ang medyo magulo ang formula, but if we just follow this, don't worry, madali lang naman talaga to. Okay, let's have this example. Number 1 para sa ungrouped data. Kung nakita nyo naka-table ito class, hindi ibig sabihin na naka-table yan na group data na agad. Group data kapag yung X natin dito ay naka-arrange sa classes o naka-interval siya. Pero pag ganito, individual, so ungroup pa din yan. We are dealing with the same data in the previous example. Yung hours spent by watching the television, by the students on watching the television, the same data. Ang nag-iba lang, yung ating sinusolve dito ay standard deviation and variance. O kasi nga nasama yung formula, yung value ng mean dun sa standard deviation, kailangan natin unahin isolve itong ating mean x bar. So mean nito, i-plus lang lahat yan. Yung ating data, 18, 19, 12, 11, and 10. I-divide sa 5 kasi 5 silang lahat. And the mean is 14. Kasi kailangan natin to. For the standard deviation, mas maganda kung ganito natin na pag-solve para mas clear. First column, ilagay natin dyan yung 5 score. O hours pala to. 5 hours spent by the students to watch television. And then, second column, nilagay natin ng 14 dyan. Mean. Para sa third column, i-subtract natin yung dalawa. 18 minus 14 is 4. 19 minus 14 is 5. 12 minus 14 is negative 2. And so on. And then, sa last column, ilagay natin yung square. I-square natin itong previous one. Kasi iyan yung kailangan sa formula. Summation of the x minus x bar square. So, square natin, 4 times 4, 16, 5 times 5, 25, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, negative 3 times negative 3, 9, negative 4 times negative 4, 16. And then, we will add this last column. So, i-plus natin lahat yan. Ang sum niyan ay 70. Yan na yung ating summation of the x minus x bar. Okay, 70 dito. Nagkataon na pareho lang dito sa summation of x plus, pero hindi always na pareho yan ha. Nagkataon lang na pareho sila. So, 70. And then, n natin ay 5 kasi 5 lang sila. N minus 1 sa formula, kaya 70 divided by quantity of 5 minus 1. So, 70 divided 4 is 17.50. Yan yung ating variance. Tingnan natin ang square root niyan. Okay, the square root of 17.5 is 4.18. Ito na yung ating standard deviation. So in short, isosolve lang talaga natin variance. And after that, getting the square root. Standard deviation agad yun. Malaki itong standard deviation, ibig sabihin masyadong malalayo yung agwat ng mga score. Or this time, hours ang pinag-uusapan dito. Difference in the hours of watching television. Now, para naman sa group data, to solve for the variance and standard deviation, kailangan ulit natin i-solve din yung mean ng data na to kasi kailangan natin yan sa formula ng variance din. So, to solve for the mean, yung original na given na data lang class, itong class interval at saka f lang. So, kinailangan natin magdagdag ng dalawang column, x at saka fx, para ma-solve lang yung mean. Kasi ang formula ng mean natin is summation of fx divided by n. Add tayo ng third column na x. Average ito ng class interval 40 to 44, that's 42. 45 to 49, ang gitna niya ay 47. Get the average, plus mo lang yan 50 plus 54. 104 divided by 2. 52. O ganun lahat nagawa dito. So, kaya lumabas yung x. And then, we need the column for fx also. So, i-multiply lang yung f at saka yung x. 4 times 42, 168. 3 times 47, 141. 4 times 52, 208. And so on, hanggang sa pinakalas. 2 times 92 is 184. Now, i-plus natin lahat to. And the answer is 3,370. Yan na yung ating summation of the fx. And then, i-plus mo din itong f. That is actually 50. Kahit hindi natin i-plus, nakita natin in the previous na 50 naman yung n. So, this is what we need to solve for the mean. Summation of fx divided by n. That is 3,370 divided by 50. The mean is 67.50. Kailangan natin ito kasi mamaya i-subtract na naman natin yung x na to individually minusan natin yan ng mean na 67.50. And that is in the next. Same table, dinagdagan ko lang ulit class ng ito, dinagdagan itong x minus x bar, and then x minus x bar square, and then f times x minus x bar square. Ito yung pinaka-last kasi pinaka-importante. Pero hindi natin makuha to pag wala itong dalawa. So itong x minus x bar, yun ang nasabi ko, yung mean natin in the previous na 67.5, 42 minus 67.5, ito ang sagot. 47 minus 67.5, ito yung sagot, negative 20.4. 52 minus 67.5, ito yung sagot, negative 15.4. Lahat na ito minusan natin ng mean. Hanggang sa pinaka-last, 92 minus 67.5, 24.6. Next is i-square natin itong column na to. I-multiply it by itself or square natin in the calculator. Negative 25.5 times negative 25.5, 645.16. Negative 20.4 times negative 20.4, 416.16. Lahat na ito, i-ganon din natin. Kung may calculator kayo, mas maganda. Kung meron namang Excel, mas maganda pa rin. 4.6 times 4.6, 21.16. O lahat yan. Ngayon sa mabuo itong column na to. And then next is i-multiply naman natin itong column na to din sa F. So F, ito, 4 times 645.16. Ito na yung sagot. 3 times 416.16. Ito yung sagot. 4 times 237.16. Ito yung sagot. 3 times 108.16. Ito yung sagot. 10 times 29.16. Ito yung sagot. And then, hanggang sa pinaka-last, ganun din ang gawin. And then, last step, i-plus natin lahat to. So, ang laki-laki mga numbers yan. But we need to add all of them to get the summation of f times x minus x bar square. So, ito na. Ang total nito lahat, 10,392. O, ito ang kailangan natin to solve for the variance. Variance, ito na yon. The summation of the quantity of f times x minus x bar square. Summation of that is yun na. Nasolve na natin the previous 10,392 divided by 49. Kasi yung n natin doon in the previous is 50. 50 minus 1, that's 49. I-divide natin to. The answer is 212.08. Ito na yung ating variance. To solve for the standard deviation, kunin lang diretso class ang square root nito. To get the square root of this, ito na yung sagot niya, 14.56. Pero pinakita ko lang mula sa umpisa sa kanyang formula para makita nyo na pareho lang naman sila. At the last, in-square root lang naman yung ito. But, pwede nyo yung diretsohin class. After this, s square equals 212.8 and sunod, s equals 14.56. The standard deviation. O just in case kasi lang, tinatanong ko lang, what is a standard deviation? So, hindi nyo kailangan dumaan dito. Diretso kayo dito sa ganitong formula. And then, here, for the final answer. Let's go to the coefficient of variation. Ito, medyo madali-dali ito siguro. Medyo hindi masyado mahabang sagot. Coefficient of variation is used to compare the variability of two or more groups. It is used to determine which group is more or less varied. So, given two groups class, using this coefficient of variation, malalaman natin kung alin sa kanilang dalawa yung mas dikit-dikit ang score or mas malalayo ang score sa isa't isa. Ito yung gamit ng coefficient of variation for comparison. So, alam natin na yung units ng S here is the standard deviation, and the X bar here is the mean. Pareho yung unit yan nila, so magka-cancel yan. Kaya wala ng unit yung CV. Maliban sa ito ay na-express sa percent. Example, solve the CV of the previous data. Okay, balik tayo sa previous data. Wala mo nang comparison nito class. Isa lang muna na data, so no comparison. I just solve for the CV. So data natin yung age of the scientist from the previous example. 34, 35, 45, 56, 32, 25, and 40. To solve for the coefficient of variation, kailangan natin isolve yung dalawa. S, standard deviation, at saka mean. The right side is the table, mas madali. Ito yung ating mga age ng scientist. Itong pito na to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then next column, gawin nyo lang x minus x bar. I-minus natin yung mean nito. So alam natin in the previous class na solve natin ang mean nitong data na to and it is equal to 38.14 kung hindi ako nagkakamali, diba? Doon sa ating previous na example. So the mean of this is 38.14 ata. And then sinubtract natin yan, 34 minus 38.14, the answer is negative 4.14. Ganon din, isubtract natin dito sa lahat ng ito, yung 38.14 na mean nito. So ito yung mga sagot. Next, isi-square natin itong column na to. And ito na, negative 4.14 square, ito na 17.16. All of this is square lang or i-multiply sa kanyang sarili. And the result is the last column here. And then i-add lang natin lahat ng last column nito. The answer is 606.86. Para yan sa pag-solve ng standard deviation kasi nandun yung formula natin. So now, alam na natin yan kung ilan ang value. So substitute na lang natin. The square root of 606.86 divided by 7 minus 1, and that is 6. 7 is the number of data here, 7. So dividing this into 6, the answer is 101.14. Ito yung ating variance. Kung hanapin ng variance, pero dahil standard deviation lang naman, so we get the square root of this. So the answer is 10.06. That is our standard deviation, 10.06. Ito pala yung solution ng mean. Actually, ito yung dapat nauna, no? Ito, dapat inuuna natin i-solve yung mean bago yung standard deviation. So the answer here is 38.14. Kailangan natin yung mean sa pag-solve ng standard deviation. Pero okay lang yan, class. Pwede namang balik ta rin. So now you know already the value of the mean, 38.14, and the standard deviation is 10.06 dun sa previous. Divide lang natin yan sila. 10.06 divide 38.14 times 100%. The answer is 26.38%. So ito yung kanyang coefficient of variation. 26.38%. Ano ba ang implication, class, kapag malaki yung coefficient of variation? Halimbawa, i-imagine mo na ang standard deviation natin dito ay 1. Ang mean din ay 1. So meaning, ang coefficient of variation dyan ay 100%. Kapag yung standard deviation ng dalawang grupo, standard deviation ay pareho, magkaiba sila ng mean, mas mataas yung mean ng isa, yung may mas mataas na mean, yun yung may mababang coefficient of variation. Yung may mababang mean, yun yung mas mataas ang coefficient of variation. So to understand this more efficiently, kailangan natin itong susunod na problem kasi kinumpare dito yung dalawang CV ng dalawang grupo. This case, male and female. So wala nang data, given na to. Given na itong dalawang grupo, male and female. Height daw ng male and female to. Ang average height ng male ay 162 cm, female ay 148 cm. Standard deviation ng male ay 10, and then female is 4. So, ang CV niyan, based on this solution, CV of the male is 10 divided by 162 times 106.17. And then female is 4 divided by 148 times 102.7% ang kanyang coefficient of variation. In this case, mas malaki yung value ng sa male at mas malaki ang female. Ibig sabihin, mas varied yung height ng male kaysa female. Ibig sabihin ng mas varied, mas malalaki yung agwat ng kanilang mga height kaysa sa mga babae. Mga babae, mas maliit ang CV, mas malalapit sa isa't isa yung kanilang mga height. So yan ang ibig sabihin how to interpret the CV of pairing the two groups. Now let's go to quartile deviation. So example, find the quartile deviation of the following scores. Ito yung mga scores. Tingin ko na arrange na ito. O mas maganda kung na-arrange na from highest to lowest. Kasi makita na natin agad yan. Pwede natin i-mental lang yung position nila. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 lahat. So na-arrange naman. No need to arrange them again. Again na. Now solve for the quartile 3. So K is 3, kaya 3 times 11 plus 1, that's 3 times 12. divide 4, the answer is 9. Dahil whole number yung 9 class, hindi natin kailangan ng interpolation. Bilangin na lang natin pang 9 na data. So, bilang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 47. Kaya 47 yung sagot. Okay, para sa quartile 1, we have here. The answer is 3. Meaning, third. So, whole number only, no need interpolation. Bilangin lang o ano yung pangatlo sa ating data. So, 1, 2, 3, 25. Kaya 25 yung quartile 1. And then to solve for the inter or the quartile deviation, so i-minus lang. We have 47 minus 25, yung nakuha natin kanina, divided by 2 equals 11. So the quartile deviation is 11. Percentile range. For the percentile range, subtract lang yung percentile 90 and percentile 10. We have your data. Calculate the percentile range of the following scores. This one. So ito ungrouped data to dahil hindi siya naka-arrange sa classes or intervals. First thing to do, dahil hindi naka-arrange, i-arrange natin with position, lowest to highest. So 1 to hanggang ilan? 1 to 20. So na-arrange na. Ito na yung pagka-arrange natin. Ito yung kanilang position. Now, for the percentile 90, 90 times 29 plus 1, divide 100, the answer is 27. Dahil whole number yung 27, no need to do interpolation. 27 is here. So, meaning 175 ang sagot. P90 is 175. And then, para sa percentile 10 or 10 percentile, K is 10, kaya 10 times 12 plus 1, that's 30. 10 times 30, divide 100, 3 ang sagot. So, whole number ulit, no need to interpolate. Ano yung pangatlo? 1, 2, 3. So, ito yung pangatlo. 111. So, that's our percentile 10. Okay, so just subtract the two to get the percentile range. So, 175 minus 111 equals 64. That is for ungrouped data. What if kung group data? So, ito na. Group data. So, naka-arrange ulit sa frequency distribution table. Yung scores ay naka-organize sa classes or intervals. Ito. So, calculate the PR or the percentile range of this data. Kailangan natin uli ng third column yung ating less than CF. So, balik pa rin sa ating formula ng quartile or percentile. Ito na, less than CF. So, siguro alam nyo na paano kinuha yan. Starting with 4, so right there, plus 3, that's 7, plus 4, 11, plus 3, 14, plus 10, 24, plus 2, 26, up to 48, plus 2, 50. So, yung 50 na to, ito din yung ating value ng N. And then, to solve for the percentile 90, sabihin 90 yung ating K dito. So, yun ang unahin natin kunin yung Kn over 100. That is 90 times 50 divided by 100 equals 45. So, after that, tingnan nyo dito sa less than CF kung alin yung mas mataas sa 45. Sabihin 48. So, nandyan yung ating percentile 90 na class. So, ito yung gagamitin natin pag-substitute ng ating formula. And then yung I, doon, kailangan din natin yan. Ano ba yung equivalent niya? So, tulad ng dati pa rin, just subtract any two consecutive lower or upper class limit. So, 45 minus 40, 5 pa rin yun. And now, substituting into the formula, okay, lower limit of the P90 is 84.5. Dito nang galing yun. 85 minus 0.5. That's 84.5. And then 100, itong Kn over 100, na-solve natin 45. So, ito na 45. That's nandun sa formula. Minus 42. CF of below. So, 48. Less than that is 42. Kaya minus 42. All over 6. 6 is our frequency. Nandito. And 5 is our I. Mag-umpisa, mag-simplify. 45 minus 42 is 3. Divide 6. So 1 half times 5 is 2.5. Adding 2.5 to 84.5, we have 87. Our 90 percentile. Next, kailangan pa natin kunin yung P10. So, ganoon din ang pagkuha. Unahin natin yung Kn over 100. Because K is 10, 10 times 50 over 100, the answer is 5. So, natin uli natin yung 5 na yan dito sa less than CF. So, andito lang sa 7. Greater than 5, 7. So, meaning, andito yung ating P10 na class. That's 45 to 49. And then, yung I natin is also 5. Tulad ng previous pa rin. And then, substituting, we have lower limit of this class is 44.5. Minus 0.5 lang doon. Kaya 44.5. And then, Kn over 100 is 5. Ito na. Minus 4. 4 is the less than CF, yung below 4. Over 3 here, that's the frequency there. Times 5. And then, umpisa tayo dito. 5 minus 4. 1 times 5 divide 3. The answer for that is 1.67. Plus 44.5. So, we have 46.17. The value of our P10. Sorry class, it should be percentile 10, not 90. Hindi na edit. Okay? So now, the formula for our percentile range is this one. Substitute natin. 87 minus 46.17. So, the percentile range is 40.83. Ito yung range from P90 up to P10 or P10 to P90. Okay, so I think hanggang dyan lang muna class. Pagod na talaga yung lalamunan ko. Masakit na. For your assignment, please screenshot this. From this data, this is group data. So hanggang dito lang muna class. Salamat sa panonood. Pasensya na, kailangan ko itong gawin para madali natin matapos yung ating mga lessons. Konting support class ha, pag-subscribe. Salamat.